Well, I'll do that in a minute.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, alongside Ricky Wysocki, along with Drew, and Ricky. I wanted to get a little update from you guys. We're going to talk about both on the course and off the course. And I think the easiest way to start right now would be on the course stuff that's going on. Right now, we're at the Memorial. We're 3 rounds in. And how's your play been thus far?
So we'll start by saying my play's been hindered by a bad swell up in my leg. I've had a little bit of a tough time getting around the course. A lot of people have been asking me why I'm limping around. It does nothing to do with Lyme disease, so that part's good. But yeah, he's it's a perfect timing for my nutritionist Drew to be here. He's been helping me out a ton, getting through this week with supplements, with my diet, with everything in my overall health and wellness game plan. He's been a huge help. So I'll turn it over to him. He's the expert.
Well, let me ask you a couple of questions still about the play. Right now, you said your knee. How have you been able to adjust? What have you been having to do so that you can go out and play? What are some of the things that you're concerning yourself for this weekend?
So I've been doing a ton of stuff. So I've been doing ice baths because it's been swelling and inflaming. So I've been trying to cool it off that way and try and get the swelling to go down. I've been doing my infrared sauna, which is it's a tons of benefits to that. A lot of supplements that just overall help my body and in huge ways. I've been going to Disc Golf Strong, Seth at Disc Golf Strong, stretching. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to even play through the rounds because when I'm waking up in the morning, it's so flared up that I can barely walk. So I'm just hobbling on one foot throughout out there on the course. So I have to disc up on a lot of holes, throw destroyers where I normally throw T-birds or rocks, but I'm managing, and I'm obviously I'm not going to perform at my highest level. This that's not what it's about. It's out there. I'm just it's more of a mental battle with myself, just saying, yeah, I can get out there. I can still play well, even if I'm playing at 50-60%.
What's been hindered the most in terms of it, just your sheer power, your putting, your concentration, anything, or all of those things?
Definitely driving is the number one thing, just because my timing's off a little bit, because it's like sometimes I'm scared to put weight on my back foot and really get that push off. It's my left leg, so that's where you do most of your pushing off when it comes to backhand. So sidearm actually isn't as bad as you would think, because you're pushing off with your right leg, which is my back leg, and the sidearm. So, the driving is definitely has been off a touch here and there, just because, yeah, it's really tough to put pressure on it and really trust my body that it's not going to be a ton excruciating pain if I throw a full power drive.
Now, you've certainly have a little bit of an advantage in that you've had some off seasons here. You've come here, you've trained, you've relaxed or done your training here in the off season. So at least these courses are nothing new to you. You've been playing here for a long time.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a huge advantage. Seeing so many different spots and scenarios out here on the course with the different winds and all the different variables that this course can throw at you and the OBs and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely something, if it was a tournament I wasn't as familiar with, I definitely don't know if I'd be doing even this well considering my condition right now. So that definitely plays a huge part, and I'm excited that I've, putting a lot of my knowledge in throwing the spots that I know I can get to and score well and stay consistent. That's the biggest thing for me right now. I know I'm not going to go out there and, unfortunately, I'm not going to go out there and win at this point just because of how hindered I was. So I'm just, looking to get a nice top 10. I know most people don't hear me saying that too often, but yeah, it's, I know my limit right now, and it's, it's not going to be like this forever. So that's kind of the mindset I'm going to this weekend.
So where are you sitting score-wise? I'll admit I haven't been able to keep track. Where are you sitting score-wise?
I think I'm in 16th place. I'm at 26 under, or like 25 under par. I think I'm not too, like I said, I'm not in the hunt to win or anything. But for me, it's kind of more a mental battle. Just considering I can build a lot of confidence, knowing that I'm not 100% and still can hopefully tomorrow bump myself up into the top 10, top 8, and start the season off with a decent finish.
I mean, to be fair, you're talking about your ailments, the challenges you're having, and yet here you are 25 under par, and you may not be winning, but your bad day is better than most people's best day.
Yeah, no, I definitely take that into consideration when I'm talking about that. So I try to be respectful and say it in a humble way, but yeah, I'm definitely thankful to be out here, and I'm glad that I'm able to have the people surrounding me to get my body to the point where I can really play. So that's what I'm most thankful for, is having people like Drew getting me, on a nutrition plan, a health and wellness plan, and not just for this tournament, but he's here to really see my routine and see what he can change for the better going into the tournaments, and really get me healthy, because I'm really excited to see how I'm going to play in the future when I'm 100% healthy. I'm super excited about that.
So let's talk a little bit about your relationship and how it got started. And then I'll have some specific questions for Drew. But, I think back to a few years ago, fellow competitors, Eagle McMahon, Simon Lizotte went to, we'll say, some training facilities in Germany or Switzerland or, I don't know, some other European countries.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
They were doing some off-season stuff. We've seen Seth Munsey with Disc Golf Strong really get active lately. How did it come about that you decided either you need a nutritionist or trainer, and how did those roles come about?
Yeah, so basically, when I got diagnosed with, or when I took the blood test with Lyme, when I kind of finalized the fact that I had it, there was two options in my mind. Basically, I could go the, conventional, take the doxycycline, or I could go with someone like Drew, who's going to, get my body in tip-top shape through diet and supplements, and prevent, help with what's going on with the Lyme, but also prevent future ailments from happening. And I think that was the most appealing thing to me, because it helps me not just the immediate future, but the future down the road, and I'm in it for the long run. This is my career. And so just the fact that he's actually went through what I'm going through and has cured it, and has had, worked with tons of other clients that he's also cured. So that gave me a lot of reassurance that he knows what he's talking about. He's a true professional, and he's definitely got the knowledge to knock this out. And so it came at the perfect time. I was driving home from Vermont. I remember it, and I got an email, and I was in the dumps. I mean, I was feeling horrible. At one point, I was driving down the wrong way on a one-way, driveway. I was just super delusional. I had so many side effects from the Lyme. I had like vertigo ringing in my ears. So it was just like super depressing time. And I get an email from him, and it was saying like, "Hey, I'm the guy. Like, I can help you out." And he was basically kind of just, he didn't know, I could tell in the email, like, he didn't know if I was going to respond or whatever, but it was cool to see like someone reach out at like the perfect time. And it was like, definitely seemed like a gift from God, like someone that really came out there and put themselves out there and at the perfect time. I mean, and so he basically said like, "Hey, yeah, I've been through this. I can help you out." And so I basically, like, almost from that point on, I put all my chips, so to say, in his court to really, to handle this. And I basically just kept the faith until where I'm at right now.
Wow. All right. Well, time to pass it off then, because that is a lot of trust.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a lot of faith. And really, trust is the biggest word there. So for you to get introduced, or to have him reach out to you, were you at all skeptical? I mean, like you said, that's a lot of trust.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, you'll find out just by talking to him how educated he is, and how, why I actually did what I did. But yeah, it was definitely, there's a lot of times where I doubted it, just because I didn't know what to expect. I mean, that's general, that's normal for a person like in my shoes. You're in such a depression because of what Lyme does to your body, that you're basically anytime something happens bad, and it's miserably bad when it's Lyme. It's, it's not just little small ailments like the flu here and there. It's like your joints lock up and you can't literally move your fingers. And so you wake up, like I woke up crying, not knowing if my fingers were ever going to move again in my life. So it's like that kind of stuff. And I was like, text him like, "Hey dude, like I can't move my fingers." So, "Oh yeah, that's totally normal." Like downplaying it. I'm like, "Dude, no, I can't move my fingers. Like, that's not like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's not, he's actually like, not a big deal." And then the more it started happening, I would say, "Yeah, now my knee's locked up." "Oh yeah, that's fine." And so like, if he would have like came out and like into a panic, I'd have been like, "All right, if he's panicking, I got to panic," but he's just stayed so positive because he's been through the exact same things. Okay. And so just being able to relate to him in that way just made me feel so comfortable. So now he's going to explain all the details. All
right. No, Pat, if you would, that's great.
No pressure.
He really set that up. Drew, introduce yourself to everyone. You and I have actually a very...
We have a little bit of history.
A little bit of history, but a little explain to the rest of the world.
Sure. Just the first thing I want to explain is the history with Terry. I played the cold turkey for the first time about 11 or 12 years ago.
Okay. Yep.
The tournament you used to run.
Yep.
And then about 7 or 8 years ago, I was actually coming back from school and I needed a ride from the airport. You picked me up.
Yeah.
Still appreciate that very much.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. We don't talk that often, but it was, I'll quickly say, so many people do me so many favors that when there's a random favor or question on Facebook and I actually can help, I love to jump on it. And I've been blessed by so many people. So I'm glad to return the favor once in a while.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay. So your history, your background, some of your schooling and knowledge.
Sure. So my name is Drew Detzner. I work out of a clinic that's in Brookfield, Wisconsin called Langlois Vital Nutrition Center. And my background and how I got hooked up with Ricky, basically, I don't have much of a social media presence. So actually one day my youngest brother texted me a message that said, "Hey, did you hear that Ricky got Lyme?" I was like, "No, I didn't." He showed me it was an Instagram, I think. I went on there and Ricky's post basically said, should I do antibiotics or should I go for the natural route? And I don't usually reply to anything on Instagram or social media. Like I said, I don't have much of a presence. But the month before Ricky had posted that, I just signed up for the Sake Box subscription. So I had a direct email into Ricky's camp. So I just figured, let me send an email. And the email was basically my background, which was I've been a clinical nutritionist since 2009.
Okay.
That means I work with people one-on-one on their health challenges. I don't offer any cures for anything. I don't treat anything. I don't diagnose anything.
Okay.
What I've found again and again is that a properly nourished body can overcome the majority of challenges that we see when it comes to health. Now, let me be super clear. If your appendix bursts, I do not have supplements for you.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Eating more garlic is not going to fix that. Okay.
Yep.
Just so we're clear. I absolutely have the limits of what I can help people with. But what I told Ricky was that I've been doing this work since 2009. I graduated from Valparaiso University. After that, I got a number of certifications in nutrition. But most importantly, actually, I felt was that at 25, I was diagnosed with Lyme.
Okay.
I'd actually gone to the Wisconsin State Fair.
Wow.
On a Thursday, I pulled the tick off myself when I was at the fair. And by the following Sunday morning, my knees were so locked up, both of them, that I couldn't walk because I couldn't bend my knees. After that, I went through a course of doxycycline. I was working with a rheumatologist at one point because the doxycycline didn't resolve the knee issue and the severe fatigue I was dealing with. Mm-hmm. Throughout the course of that, I dealt with prednisone as a prescription, hydrocortisone injections directly into my knees, and even 12 ounces of fluid getting withdrawn from each knee at 2 separate visits with my rheumatologist. So I went through that. I went just about as far as a person can go to handle Lyme. And after doing all that, I still had my symptoms. My knees were still locked up. I was still incredibly fatigued all day. I'd wake up tired. I'd be tired all day. I'd go to bed tired. The final step they offered me was chemotherapy to resolve what was going on with my knees. And I was not comfortable with that. So I dug in deeper and I reinvested in the whole idea of nutrition. And I started to study what is Lyme, how does it affect the body, what parts of the body does it affect, starting to learn more about what nutrients would positively impact the functioning of those parts of the body to help myself overcome what was going on. Mm-hmm. So I explained that to Ricky. I said I was just about the same age when I dealt with it. I went through the Western medicine route. I went at it really hard with the Western medicine route. It didn't work for me. I know it does work for some people. Mm-hmm. But Ricky, if you're looking to do a different way, I'm versed in that.
So I think that's very telling in that you had the direct experience with it yourself.
Right.
And I think it's very easy for a lot of people who know friends of friends or who know a Cale Lavisca or a Johnny McRae. And we've seen the impacts of others individuals, but as always, it's always different when you yourself have it, whatever that might be,
right,
of any kind of ailment or physical condition, so that you have those experiences to relate to Ricky and to others. Now, do you find yourself today still, would you consider it a specialty of yours when you talk to people about Lyme at all?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
And I really try to get away from even that terminology.
Sure.
Because I really don't want it to ever come across like I'm curing something or diagnosing something. The work I do is not medical work.
Okay. And so naturally, we all know, and Ricky's, kind of joked about it just before we went live, a lot of people have a lot of criticism for not, I'll just say, going the antibiotics. Like that's just naturally what, I don't want to say everybody, but almost everybody said. I mean, when we talked about it on the podcast, the screen just lit up of people saying he's crazy, he's stupid, he's an idiot. What's that guy doing? Get him on the antibiotics. Everybody, you saw that.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You probably got some nasty messages.
Tons, yeah.
You, how are you combating that when people say something like that? Is it just roll off your shoulder?
Yeah, well, like I said, I don't have much of a social media presence.
Sure.
So some of the things people were saying in terms of, I don't know what the right term would be, negativity or
Hating.
saying he's crazy.
Uh-huh.
Some of my friends would share screenshots with me. Ricky would share some of the DMs he got.
Sure.
But I wasn't seeing it. And really my focus is making sure Ricky and my other clients are okay. So if somebody dislikes what I do, I'm really okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't understand what I do, if they think it's going to fail, I'm okay with that too. My work speaks for itself.
Sure. Now, because I don't know a lot about Lyme, the little I do know comes from some of Johnny McRae's public postings,
Sure.
Yeah.
some of the few things that you've posted. Is it ever? It's never cured. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, I believe
So
that
you
once
always-
a person contracts Lyme, that it stays in their body forever.
Are there things that would spark a flare-up? Are there specific
Absolutely.
activities and or diet or things that could then more than likely help spark a flare-up?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we spoke that first night on the phone about. I said, Ricky, if you're going to pursue it this way, it's a lifelong approach. You have to understand that at any point in time you can have a flare-up, but we have all sorts of things we can do to help avoid a flare-up from occurring. And if a flare-up does occur, there's all sorts of things to do to remedy that situation.
Now, Rick, I've seen some of your posts, and you made a very funny video with your cooking video. Shout out to Shane and everyone else involved. I think that's awesome because we saw a little more of the humor side of you. But you've really taken on an entirely different just diet and regimen all around, haven't you?
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, the Lyme basically changed my life, but for the better. I mean, now that it's kind of at bay and it's like he said, it's kind of, I don't know what stage you would call it, dormant, I guess maybe. But it's obviously like it's always still in your body. But basically, yeah, I changed my diet and health and wellness just approach to that, drastically, and it's gonna change my life. Not just for the Lyme, but it's gonna make me healthier as a person. It's gonna make me function at a higher level cognitively, mentally on the course, just from from the juicing, from the diet, from the supplements I'm taking. So just everything combined has made me already like I'm already experiencing it. Just how the mental clarity I have on the course and how focused I am because my body is so balanced out with all the vitamins and minerals that we're feeding it. And like you said, our body's an amazing thing. And so it's stuff that I didn't even notice, I was having trouble with. But now that I'm healthy, I just feel my body so much more optimized to the point where it's like, yeah, I'm focused more. I can, I'm not breaking focus as much as I used to. I don't get burned out as easily. And so I think that that's going to be something I can take into not just this Lyme fight, but just into my life in general. So, I mean, just, being, the biggest thing is taking a negative into a positive is what everyone says. But that's literally what I'm doing is taking this negative impact on my life and turning it into a positive and changing all my health and wellness strategies for the way better.
Now, aside from your knee right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you feel like your body, and I like the word optimized, but where do you feel like your body and your conditioning is for yourself right now, aside from, the knee?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm kind of in like, I'm obviously, it's funny. I was telling people, yeah, I'm doing great. Minus the fact that I'm doing terrible. Like that's the greatest way to put it. But yeah, no, as far as that goes, obviously my knee's in a lot of pain, but as far as my whole body in general, it's never felt better. Like I've said that before, but now like I truly, feel what it means when people say that, because it's like just the way that I feel mentally is the biggest thing.
Sure.
Because I'm, eating so much cleaner and all the different strategies that we've been working on has been really put to the test and really been working. So, yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, is just seeing the change and the positive improvement in my lifestyle is such a happy, boost for me.
Sure. Now, Drew, I guess one question I would ask, and some people would have phrased it in one way or another, is there a way to kind of combine maybe even the strategies? We'll call it Western medicine, or just, I don't know if somebody says Western medicine, if that's just assumed to be an antibiotic in this case, but okay. So, and in addition to approach, maybe, is there a way to do everything that Ricky's been doing, but then to also add or supplement that along with other tactics or
natural approaches?
Yeah, approaches.
Yeah. I think that's a great question. So one of the things that came up when Ricky first spoke to me was he was in rough shape. So we did blood analysis, saliva analysis, hair analysis, and urine analysis on him.
Wow.
Okay, so trying to be as comprehensive as possible, trying to avoid missing something. I'm a big dork about disc golf, so it was a big deal to me that a 2-time world champion was a client.
Sure.
I was also thinking I don't want to mess up somebody's life.
Yeah.
So we wanted to be as comprehensive as possible.
So I guess the question along to follow that up is there, whether it's a flare up in 6 months or in 2 years, is there things in addition to what he's been doing? Is there anything else that is still maybe on the table to do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But one of the things that first came up after we did all those analyses was that if Ricky had taken antibiotics, it actually could have really disrupted a lot of things in his body.
Okay.
He was dealing with a number of infections at the same time,
Okay.
not just Lyme. So based off the work, people can look this up. It's called Gut and Psychology Syndrome. It's a book written by a lady who is a neuroscientist. What she found is the connection between gut health, which is the good bacteria inside of our intestines, and the functioning of our brain. And through her research, she found that when we take antibiotics, we know they kill both good and bad bacteria. Those good bacteria that we lose help our immune system to function ideally. So at the state Ricky was in, with the multiple infections, if he had taken antibiotics, he greatly risked letting some of the other infections kind of ramp up in his body.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Sure.
Okay. So at that point in time, antibiotics weren't much of an option for Ricky.
Okay. Well, and I guess that maybe squashes my next question, which would have been with the age of 26. I knew you since you were
totally.
Okay, you were always taller than me, but anyway, with the age that he's at and the peak performance and or maybe the there's the top of your career and your athleticism, would it have made sense to try any other approach? But maybe you're squashing that idea. I'm saying maybe an antibiotic now, but what if a holistic approach was in 5 or 10 or 20 years? Do you know what I mean? Is there the timing of it, I guess, is maybe my question, is if he was 63 and had all the exact same conditions,
right?
Would it have made a holistic approach been a little bit more logical then as opposed to now, or not? Does that make sense?
It kind of does. So if we're dealing with, let's say, an older gentleman, let's say 63 yees old, same case workup as Ricky, like we do all the same analyses, and we get the same output.
Yeah.
I'd still have concerns about running a course of 28 days of doxycycline.
Okay.
Because that could cause the other infections to really ramp up in his body and make a whole new symptom set. So good, the Lyme flared down, but now other things ramped up, and now we got a problem, or new problems, I should say. Sure.
Now, Rick, did you know in before these tests, did you think it was anything besides Lyme? Did you have any idea? Were there other signs that you maybe shared with Drew that said, well, my joints might be hurting, but here's the 5 other things that aren't feeling well as well? Was there anything else besides the obvious, we'll say, Lyme symptoms?
Yeah. So, the obvious ones are the bullseye rashes. I mean, that was one of them that I started in Vermont. I first noticed it in Vermont. I had one, and I played the tournament. I had like a lot of flu-like symptoms, really fatigued, get sweaty at night, couldn't sleep, insomnia, all that stuff.
Okay.
And it's just a couple of the many symptoms that you get. And so I actually, the trooper that I am, I fought through that, and I went to the course, played the round, and then immediately went back to bed and laid in bed until the next round, and did that for 4 days straight with the most miserable side effects of Lyme that I've ever experienced in my life. So after that, obviously I knew something was wrong. I remember just walking up to a putt. This is when I really realized and clicked in my head. I walked up to a putt, like literally like a gimme putt, like 10 foot. And I just completely missed it. Like it was like the worst putt of my career by a long shot. And I was on 18 right in front of everybody. And I didn't obviously want to say anything. Like I knew something was wrong. But yeah, people just watched me do that. And it was, kind of embarrassing. But like, that's when I really clicked in my head, like, all right, I got to, get some blood tests. And so that's when I immediately went home after that. I tapped out after I whiffed the gimme putt. And then I drove home 16 hours, all delusional, drove down the wrong side of the road. It was just a miserable experience, but I just wanted to get home where I felt comfortable with family and I could take care of. Eventually, it kind of clicked in my head. People were talking about all the symptoms, and I was like, all right, I think it's Lyme. I'm 99% sure. And then that's when he kind of, on the drive home, he came with the email and sent me the email, and then he's like, all right, get these tests done. So I immediately was super urgent on all that. Got the test done, got everything, blood, hair, all the tests that he just listed off. And then eventually we obviously found out it was Lyme.
Wow. How often do you guys talk nutrition, body conditioning? Are you guys every day, every 2 or 3 days, once a week?
Yeah, it's very often. I mean, yeah, it's we both feed off each other. He'll ask me disc golf questions, and I'll be like, yeah, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. I'll ask him nutrition questions, and he's like, yeah, boom, boom, boom. I'll just answer him off. So we definitely, both pull each other's weight for each other. Sure. So it's awesome to definitely offer some, our professional opinions on both sides of the spectrum. Definitely. So I love it. It's been a great experience.
Yeah, yin and yang.
Yeah.
All right, Drew. So I guess the open-ended question that you could share with the world would be,
sure,
what would you say to any, we'll say naysayers, haters, whatever, what would you say if you wanted to diffuse or eliminate any second guessings or any kind of misconceptions that are out there? I mean, I'll kind of give you the open floor, but I really want you to express yourself and tell people, your stance and how you've arrived at where you are.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity for that.
Yeah.
I think the first thing that I should say is that Ricky's case is incredibly unique.
Okay.
So every Lyme case is very different, but Ricky's having the other infections present at the same time, as well as some issues with his adrenal glands. All of that being put together makes his case extraordinary. So the approach that we took with Ricky is certainly not for everyone.
Okay.
It's the first thing that I want to say. So a lot of people thinking that Ricky is telling everyone to do this. He is certainly not. One of the posts that was shared with me was someone saying kids nowadays who are 10 and 11 years old have smartphones and are going to see his posts and think that if they get Lyme, they can fix it naturally. What 10 or 11-year-old is going to the nutrition center, driving themselves, paying for it themselves? Okay, like that's not happening.
Yeah,
okay? Correct. I don't mean to break a lot of hearts with this next part, but we've never used any crystals or essential oils to help Ricky. I'm sorry if that upsets you. I know a lot of people were really pulling for that one. I got a lot of screenshots about that. 0 crystals, 0 essential oils.
Incense?
No incense. If that stuff helps you, go for it. We didn't use it.
Okay.
I got a lot of DMs and messages, like people thinking like that's like literally what we were doing, like dancing around a fire like hippies, rubbing rocks and smoking essential oils or something. Like that's just a total stereotype. And I think it was interesting that yesterday he was actually talking about the difference between naturopathic, homeopathic. I think you should definitely clear that up, the stereotype of those 3 different.
Yeah, please do, because I'll be the first to admit I'm pretty in the dark on a lot of the different clarifications myself.
And you know what a lot of people are? It's not a big deal. So a couple of terms that have been thrown around, a couple of terms that we should clarify, I guess. Holistic means considering the aspects of a person's life. So that means that you can holistically treat somebody with drugs and surgery, because before prescribing a drug and performing a surgery, you considered what's their job status, what's their family status, what's their living status. So holistic means considering the multiple aspects of their life.
Okay.
It doesn't mean natural.
Yeah, and I would be the first to admit I would kind of equate the two. Okay. So I thank you.
You're very welcome. And then it's kind of like there's this big header of natural. So natural encompasses a lot of different things. It's the supplements he's taking. It's the food program we have him eating. It's the avoidance of certain foods that we know cause inflammation in the body, disrupt the functioning of the good bacteria in the gut. We're avoiding those foods. And one part of natural things is homeopathic medicine, which people often think is what natural approaches to health are.
Okay.
But what homeopathic medicine is taking something and diluting it down to incredibly trace amounts and then using that to resolve a problem. We have not used homeopathic medicine with Ricky.
Okay.
So just to clarify, natural is like saying Innova. Homeopathy is like saying destroyer. It's just one of the discs that Innova makes.
Okay.
and we haven't applied it. I know Ricky throws destroyers really well, but we haven't been throwing any of those destroyers on his case.
Okay.
We've been using T-birds and rocks and aviars.
All right. Other ones he's familiar with. Yeah.
We'll throw out the destroyers in a bit.
So when we talk about a natural way of improving health, it encompasses a lot of things. Ricky has not used every form of natural ways to improve his health.
Okay.
There are ways like the essential oils and the crystals, which is a really good joke. Homeopathy, which a lot of people use very seriously, but those things we just haven't used on his case.
Okay. Now, maybe one of my final questions, or as we pull it together, is if you were to talk to either of you, talk with a Lyme specialist or someone that really focuses in on Lyme, do you find that you would agree or disagree more often with them when they talk about treatments, or would you butt heads, or do you feel like there's a lot of crossover in maybe your methodologies or even your prescriptions or whatever? Do you feel like there's more in common or out of common when you would talk to someone?
I feel like there's a lot of common ground in that area.
Okay.
So I've only worked on a handful of Lyme cases.
Sure.
Okay. One of the cases was seeing a Lyme specialist at the same time as working with me. So I was in contact with that person. And what I made really clear to them is that I'm not trying to play doctor. I'm not interested in doing that. I'm interested in nourishing up the client's body. And we do it through the food and the supplements. We use adjunct things like the ice baths or even the near-infrared sauna.
Okay.
So I can speak to the one time I worked with a Lyme specialist on the same case, where I stepped out of their way when it came to the medical stuff, because that was their job.
Yep.
They were a medical doctor. That's what they should be doing. They should be in charge of that. And they were totally on board with the idea of reducing sugar, reducing the overly processed foods, increasing veggie intake, making sure the sources of the protein, like the meats and the eggs, were of high quality. They loved that idea. They just thought that that would only be a good adjunct.
Sure.
And we were very successful in that case. And I think it's because everybody had their job on the team. The medical doctor wasn't trying to be the nutritionist, and the nutritionist was not trying to play doctor.
Okay. If maybe final question would be, if Ricky said to you tomorrow, hey, I'd like to continue what we're doing, but I also would like to, I don't know if there's a dosage or how it works, but I'd also like to explore antibiotics at this stage.
Yeah.
Is that something you would welcome, or is that something you would like? How would that make you feel?
Actually, what I would do is I would repeat the first 4 analyses we did that determined the other infections present at the same time as Lyme.
Yep.
And if none of those were present, I actually wouldn't have a lot of hangups about the antibiotics, because I wouldn't be concerned about jamming up a new set of problems.
Sure. Yeah.
Again, I'll point to the work that's outlined in the GAPS program, the Gut and Psychology Syndrome program, about the detriment of antibiotics. So that's weighing in my mind.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly thinking if the other infections that were going on, if the concern about the functioning of his adrenal glands wasn't present, and Ricky said, I got to do this because the Lyme is flaring, I would understand where he's coming from. I wouldn't be as concerned because we're not seeing all those factors happening at one point.
Okay. Rick, when are you going to get I don't know, what are you going to start studying besides disc golf? I mean, you've mastered that.
Yeah. I'm starting to develop a passion for sure. Just working with them, I've always kind of been into the health, trying to live a healthy lifestyle.
Yep.
This
This kind of has just working with him and, picking his brain with all this knowledge that he has definitely kind of sparked a little passion for me. So I'm kind of excited.
Would it be fair to say that this is almost either sparked or rejuvenated some kind of a spiritual being within for you, or?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a total lifestyle change. I mean, just, from cooking on the road is hard, but I'm cooking all my own meals now pretty much. And when I do eat out, I'm eating super clean places, organic, high quality meats, like he's saying, with lots of vegetables, not eating ice cream, the processed sugars. So it's, it's definitely a big change. I mean, I haven't had ice cream was my crutch forever. I was eating ice cream for 4 or 5, I haven't had ice cream in 4 or 5 months. Wow. And I was eating it every day. Ben and Jerry's is my jam. So, that's it's something to where, you get over that, sugar cravings. And now it's like, I don't really crave it as much because I've been eating, my body craves vegetables. It craves juices and high quality meats. So, because that's all I've been feeding it. And it sees the improvements. My body feels and sees the improvements. I'm sure this is an amazing thing. So, that's, just seeing that what my body craves now that I'm feeding it the right nutrients that it needs is super, super awesome to feel that.
I'm sure once you retrain your body a little bit to start processing the right things that are better for you. I need to get to that point myself. So last question for you before I let you guys, exactly, before I let you guys go, Rick, I just want to know, 2 weeks from now is the next Disc Golf Pro Tour stop. That's Waco. Are we going to see, do we plan to see your knee 100%, 90%? Or is it time to take a little time off after tomorrow?
Yeah, no, definitely not any time off. I mean, this week, basically what I was thinking, my game plan for this week, once I had this knee trouble, is I was thinking, I knew I was going to have to play through pain. I kind of, in the back of my head, obviously I'm a competitor. I didn't, I want to always think I have a chance to win. But in this mind, in this, the way my body is right now, it's just, it's inevitable for me to slip a couple strokes here and there, just because I can't really throw the shots that I really need to perform at the highest level of my potential. But anyways, I wanted to play, and I didn't want to, quit the tournament, DNF, and then, day 2 comes around and my knee feels fine.
Sure.
So, I wanted to get through the first day, see how it felt. And then maybe, I'm hoping tomorrow it loosens up and I can actually play a round where I feel 100%. And it's highly unlikely, but, I think, it's going to, loosen up probably within the next, 3 to 4 days. Just with the actual case that's going on with this, I've been stretching it out and before all the rounds, just so it's manageable. And, I'll be in Waco for sure. I think I'm, pretty confident that I'll be playing Waco. 99.9% sure I'll be playing Waco at 100%. So that's
awesome.
What I'm really putting my strides to, is building off of this week, seeing how I get through this, and really just focusing on, the next tournament, which is Waco. Obviously, I'm still here at the Memorial. And I'm going to make
tomorrow to do.
Yeah,
exactly. I know, but
don't look too far ahead.
Yeah.
But I do want to also say one other thing, is I want to say that, I really, with all the criticism of the, the path that I took,
mm-hmm.
A lot of the followers and fans out there that really, criticized me, I want to say thank you for that. Just the more time that I had to kind of to see, where people are coming from, all they were basically doing is just looking out for me. They like watching me play. They respect me as an athlete. So they were just wanting me to be healthy so they can, watch me, do my thing. So, so just looking at the big picture, they're just looking out for me. So they want, what they think is best. Just me looking at that at the big picture, it's just them, wanting the best for me. So I want to say thank you for trying to look out for me. And, that's something that definitely means a lot.
Yeah. Everybody's worried.
Yeah.
When they may have a weird way of showing
exactly
that,
right.
Or someone like Amp Styles said, did you see a doctor about this? Did you at some point?
So basically, doctors are a lot of the doctors, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they test you, they do the blood work, they do all that stuff. So it's a lot of it's similar as far as like diagnosing it, right? As far as the blood work and all that stuff. The biggest, obviously, the biggest difference is treating it with your health, your diet and everything.
Sure.
But so to answer your question, no, basically I didn't see an actual doctor. I basically talked with him and did the testing. And then after the testing is kind of when I figured we saw all the different things going on with all the different infections. And it's like the way he explained it to me, I know he's a true professional in what he does. So the way he explained everything with all the different infections going on. And we didn't really talk about it too much, but the infection in my finger, I took doxycycline to add to the equation to kill that. And, I probably had Lyme in my body at that time. So
sure.
Doxycycline is the same thing you take for Lyme. So if it was going to kill it, you'd think it would have killed it when I took it for my infection in my finger.
Yeah, because your finger was nasty.
Exactly.
Really nasty.
Super nasty. It was gross. So it was in the same time frame where the Lyme was in my body. So that was super interesting, and he'll talk, he's talked to me about it before, to add to the equation the fact that we already kind of took doxycycline, which is the same
true. That's a very valid point. Okay. All right, guys. Well, if you don't have anything else, I'm going to say thank you for joining. Thanks for sharing your story and shedding some more light on it. Because, of course, like you said, a lot of people are worried, sometimes weird ways to show it, but people are worried and want to see you succeed. They want to see our athletes continue to improve and to perform at those high levels. And that's exactly what we're used to seeing out of you. So that makes perfect sense. Okay.
Yeah, awesome. There's some crazy comments on here.
Well, that's why you try not to read them.
Right.
That's why I read them.
You read them, all right, and kind of sift through them.
Matthew, we kind of got it. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to appreciate talking to you guys. Thank you. We should see each other more. We live in the same city. I could benefit from some fresh health perspective. So, but thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you out there tomorrow.
Yeah. Thanks,
all right, guys. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we're going to let them head on out. Appreciate it. Rick's going to move on out. I want to say thank you again, of course. It sounds like we've got other athletic professionals, Seth Munsey of Disc Golf Strong. A new addition to this year's Disc Golf Pro Tour is that he is contracted and even compensated, I think, in some degree, to be at all of the Disc Golf Pro Tour events. And with that, I want to talk to Seth. We're going to bring him in here, hook him up a little bit.
All right.
So you don't have to hold it like Rick. They had to share the mic, and you get it all to your own.
Sweet.
All right. So if everyone can give me, somebody can give me a check in the comments. Go ahead, give me a mic check.
Hello. Mic check.
As he looks down. Yep, Mike's there.
Mike is here.
If I can get a confirmation that Seth sounds
Can
good. We
you
know he
hear
looks
me?
good. Come on. If he sounds good, then I'll go ahead and continue with some questions. But first of all, thanks for joining.
Thank you very much, Terry, for having me. I always love being on here.
As I introduced you, this year, Disc Golf Strong guaranteed to be at all of the Disc Golf Pro Tour events.
Yes.
What a great addition, not just for the players, but for you, for Disc Golf Strong, for the Pro Tour. I mean, I don't see any negatives here. This is great.
Yeah, I'm really excited. You know, I've been out since 2016 on tour, just kind of going to various events throughout the year, a couple Pro Tours, a couple NTs, and it's just really great that this year to know that, you know, through my partnership with the Pro Tour, that I will be at every Pro Tour stop, including the championship. So, you know, the Pro Tour really, you know, took a big step forward. Say, hey, we want our athletes treated like athletes. We want them to feel like legitimate athletes, the athletes that they are, and know that their bodies are being taken care of. And yeah, it just feels really good to be out here in this first event of the year and look forward to the rest of it.
Well, and as you said about 2016, I've seen you now at pretty much every event you've been to, because I've been there working in some capacity as well. You've been out here.
Finland.
Yeah, excuse me.
Even in Finland.
Even in Finland, we enjoyed some good time together. And, you know, you really dedicated yourself to these athletes. You making yourself 100% available, getting up early, staying late, doing warm-up routines, doing, you know, cool downs. I was going to say post-game routines, doing all of those things with our players. So just from I'll say from a business perspective, it's got to feel good that everything you've been doing is now that much more validated. Not that maybe you needed it, but you're more validated, and you're here and you're a fixture on the tour.
Yeah,
that's just that's got to feel really good as well.
It does. It feels good. You know, to see this next step forward, this next phase forward for the sport of disc golf, and I'm glad that, you know, myself, Disc Golf Strong is a part of it, is a part of disc golf, and to be able to share the knowledge that you know, from years of doing this with the athletes, to just help them with their longevity and everything. It's just
So let's give everyone a quick, and I know I've talked to you about this in the past, but we'll give everyone a quick recap of, we'll say, your experience. You've worked with hockey teams, baseball teams. Give everyone drop a few. Name drop a little.
Yeah. Well, so my degree is in kinesiology. Went to Cal State Fullerton in California, and while I was there, I went to college a little late. I used to be in the military, and I worked on an ambulance for a couple of years, and so I went to the GI, used the GI Bill, got my degree in kinesiology. And during my senior year at school, I worked for the Anaheim Ducks as their intern strength coach.
Okay.
So it was myself and the coach there working with the athletes all throughout the year, and, you know, preseason and training camps, and did a little off-season stuff with him. And then after that, opened my own gym, ran my own gym for a couple of years before transitioning into Disc Golf Strong full-time. But working with athletes, helping them compete at the highest level, the experience in the hockey was huge, to see what athletes train like. And, you know, a big experience that I got working in hockey was that year that I was there. They were projected to go to the playoffs. and it was probably like the worst season like they had in a long time. And it was a really great experience actually for me working with athletes in that environment, because when you're winning, everything works great.
Yeah, everything's easy.
You know, like we lost our head coach on the team during that season. And I remember, like, you know, the in the beginning of the season, they would win a game and just come in, and we would actually do our sessions, our training sessions, right after the game. So they would finish a game at like 10:30 p.m. And then it was they come into the locker room, they come in, go to the locker room real quick, then come into the gym.
Wow.
And we'd have the session up there, and rookies would jump on the bike, hit the bike while the veterans would get their session in. And, you know, like I said, everyone's high-fiving. My coaching cues are on point, you know. Everyone's smiling. It's fun environment. But then when they go through a season like that and your head coach is fired, they still have to get the training sessions in. And I still have to coach them.
And nobody wants to do it.
And nobody wants to do it, you know. And so it was a great experience because they would come in and you have to figure out, hey, you know, how do I approach this athlete? What do I say? What do I not say? And, you know, it was just, to take it now into disc golf, to know that as a professional athlete, you have your ups and your downs in the mental game, and why it's not just training. It's not, just get out there and do this exercise. Like, you know, there's so much else that goes into it on the elite athlete.
Well, to expand on that, when somebody visits the Disc Golf Strong training zone right now, is that exactly the terminology?
We call it the Disc Golf Strong Athletic Performance Zone, or just Athletic Performance Zone.
Excuse me. I'm just coughing. So when they go to the Athletic Performance Zone,
yes.
Who is it for? And
Yes.
what types of things are they focusing on, and what are you doing with the athletes that are there?
Yeah. So when the athletes come to the Athletic Performance Zone, well, first off, it's for any pro competing at a Disc Golf Pro Tour event.
Okay, so it's worth making the distinction. At an event like this, for instance, there might be 500 competitors, but your contract and really your area of expertise to help to be most effective is with the pros that have come in that are playing in the MPO or the FPO division.
Yes.
Not that you don't want to talk to people and interact, but
Absolutely.
The primary zone, though, is for those MPO and FPO players in this case.
Yes, it's for those, and some point in the future, I would love for it to be available to everyone.
Sure.
But there is only one
One
right
of you.
now, and
Everybody wants a piece.
If I was trying, it would be a packed Athletic Performance Zone,
Yeah.
and there would be, it would be chaos in there, controlled chaos, I think, but it would be chaos, right? So when the athletes come in, they come in prior to their round. I encourage them to try to come in at least an hour before they tee off, so that they're not rushing. And then I have like a board out. I have a board in there, so I have foam rollers. I have, mini
Weights.
bands. I have all kinds of stuff for them. We have their mats laid out, and I actually have a whiteboard that has the full warm up that we're going through. So they can just jump in right away and just start hitting the warm up, and then afterwards I have a cool down or also on the board that they can just jump in and just start foam rolling and hitting all those points, so that I can focus on coaching them and not have to, one person stand there waiting for me to tell them what to do.
Sure.
And so prior to the round, we're just trying to activate their muscles. We're trying to warm up the muscles. We're trying to stimulate the nervous system. So a lot of them, especially those that are competing in their earlier times, they've been, they just got out of bed, or they're still kind of just getting moving for the day. So we've got to get their nervous system stimulated, their brain stimulated, and work on anything else. If somebody's got something where they're like, hey, my shoulder's been bugging me, we'll do some stuff for that, or my hip. So that's the goal of prior to the tournament. And it's warming them up, not working them out.
Okay.
Right. And it's getting their core activated. It's not trying to crush them. I see a lot of people, they just in general, their warm-ups are workouts, and then they're fried before they go do whatever they do, whatever sport it is, right? We're not there to do that. They're elite athletes, not elite exercisers. And so that's my goal, is just help them feel both physically and mentally prepared for their round that day, because the physical affects the mental affects the physical. If their body feels good, then they're going to be able to go out there and compete. A big saying that I love is strength breeds confidence. So they feel strong, they feel activated, that they can go out there confident.
Well, and some of the almost all of the athletes that we see performing at the highest levels, I'll name drop for you. We're seeing everyone visit you these days. Like it of course started out slowly. A few people would come in and visit and talk to you, and then more would join, and then more would join. And now really, if you looked at, anyone that's in the top 20, 30, 40, whatever it might be, almost everyone, it feels like, stops by and talks to you, visits with you, warms up, cools down, whatever. It seems like almost everybody stops in at some point. Who do we need to call out? Who's not seeing you is the next question.
I mean, for the people that don't come in yet, that's okay. Like, I understand, like, people have gotten in their own routines, and it's a new routine, so they're trying to figure out how that would fit in their routine. In the beginning, some people were not sure. It's like, do I need to, is it only for certain people?
Yeah.
Do I have to, like, swipe a credit card?
Yeah.
So they were hesitant, and that's okay. I understand that. But now pretty much most athletes I'm familiar with, or I know I've talked to on tour, a lot of them, most all of them, in some fashion. And, some I'm just providing coaching just via answering a question for them at that point, knowing that eventually they might want to come in and try out what we got going on there. But a lot of the top players, like I've been working with Ricky for 2 years now. Sarah Hokum, the first athlete I started working with John Baldwin, JB.
Yep, JB.
And in 2016, and then Sarah Hokum reached out pretty early on and started working with her, started working with Madison. And it's kind of just went from there. And it was great when Sarah started going out and started warming up when no one else was warming up. And she's 3-time All-American volleyball player in college, and so she's like, hey, this stuff works. And people are coming around.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, I've watched the participation inside your zone kind of just grow throughout the years. And pretty soon you look over and it's like, oh, there's the first 4 cards. They're all over there warming up or doing something to get ready for their round and for the event. So real quick, you touched on working with Ricky. Obviously, I just talked to Ricky extensively about his ailment, in the Lyme disease. And then he said it and you've said it. You still work with him. So it feels like there's a supplemental approach. There's the things that he's doing, but then he's still coming in to make sure he's physically ready in every way as well. Do you have conversations with Ricky about, is there any way you kind of overlap maybe some of the conversations Drew's had with him? Or is that really not the area that you get into?
If Ricky has questions for me and wants my advice on things, I will definitely share my advice with him on things. So we have conversations. So, but my goal is to really support him in any way I can. And that is through exercise, through conversations about what he, where he thinks he should go and whether, however that ends up with how he takes that advice. I'm just really, Ricky's always been someone who wants to do the best thing. He wants to. As an athlete, he's always looking for that. He's always been looking for that edge, right? But he always wants to try to do what he feels is best for him. And, I know some people have different opinions on different things. But it's been great working with Ricky for the last couple of years. And it's been great having him. I know he's been having some stuff going on with his hip. And he's been over there at the athletic performance zone before, afterwards, we've been working, doing what we can do, and helping them get out there and play. And I mean, yesterday I was like, dude, you're shooting like 10 down.
Yeah, and you're hurt.
When you could barely walk, man, I would have lost my entire bag over a fountain. I mean, so so it shows how much of a competitor he is.
Yeah, he's got something a little additional in the tank, and he's just that naturally talented and gifted. As I joked with him, I said, Ricky, you on your bad days are better than most people on their best days, and he's proving it this weekend. He's maybe resigned to the fact that he's not winning tomorrow, but here he is, still under par considerably, still doing quite well, all things considered.
Yeah.
And as he continues to worry about and to focus, I should say better, on nutrition, he also is going to continue to do all the physical components that, in working with you. So that makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. And he's got so much talent, but there's that saying, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. He's got talent and he works hard.
Yeah.
He's always wanting to, that's why he comes to Arizona. So he can sit, so the off season, he's working disc golf. I think we've talked about it in the past. It's like, you have to work at this level. You want to get to the top. You have to work disc golf.
Yeah. It's no longer, some people always kind of make the old, comparisons to our world champions, maybe of a decade or 2 decades ago that, would maybe party all night, maybe extracurricular activities, and then still get out and play the world championships the next morning. Well, we're long past those days because, like you said, that professionalism, that athleticism, there's no longer those days of seven nights a week of partying and still winning.
Nope, not
There's too many people that want it more.
Absolutely.
Is there anything you'd like to share? I'll give it just like I did with Drew and Ricky. Open floor. Is there any misconceptions or any ideas or any concepts you want to share with the world? Maybe any new initiatives, whatever it is. You got anything for us?
Oh, let's see. Wow. Like I said in the beginning, I'm just really excited that the Pro Tour has made that commitment to bringing the Disc Golf Strong Athletic Performance Zone to all the tour stops this year, because it really shows, like I've already said this, but it really shows how how committed they are to the athletes. And Jeff and I have talked about so many other things where we get to talking and it's like, oh, we could future this or that, because they really care, and I care, and I know you care. We want the athletes and the experience and the tour and everything to continue to thrive, and so the professional side is there, and we're working on the professional side, but I also love the amateur side of the sport too. I'm an amateur, and I want to see the amateur side of the sport continue to grow and thrive, and that's why I put out content for them and say, hey, we're athletes. Whether you see the Athletic Performance Zone on tour, and we're we got Sexton or you got Paige or working there. I hope that encourages anyone watching this to say, hey, they're doing it. It would benefit my game as well. It would benefit my body as well, because we all want to play healthy, strong, athletic disc golf for as much as we want, for as long as we want. So it's not just for the pros, the things that I show, the things that I do, you can do it too, and you should, because I get so many messages from people all the time. Hey, I'm having shoulder surgery. Hey, I can't pick up my kid. I can't pour a cup of coffee because my elbow is just trashed. Right? That's not good for them. That's not good for our sport.
No.
So take care of yourself.
Well, and maybe to wrap that up into another thought is, it doesn't matter if you're rated 10-10 or 7-10, what you're providing, whether it's free tutorials or online or through the app, whatever the case is, whatever your skill level is, it's applicable to all.
Absolutely.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest takeaways here is, like you said, it's not just for the pros. Everything that is being done can be performed by everyone and can help you grow and improve your game, your health, your strength, and all of those things. So
absolutely,
if they want to participate or follow along or just support you, where do they need to go find the app, and what do they need to do?
Yeah, so we have it. Yeah, so we have a Disc Golf Strong app. It's available on iOS and Android.
Yep.
And so there's a free app where you can download it and you create an account. And then and when you create an account, if you're watching this, make sure you use a username and not a nickname. People will try to use like a nickname, just like Ricky Bobby, right? And it doesn't work that well. Or they'll just say like Ricky. Right. Well, if there's two Rickies that both try to use Ricky,
Oh, sure.
it kicks
Sure.
you out, right? So use a proper username. Ricky underscore,
Yeah.
champ.
Bobby underscore
Yeah,
321.
Exactly. Right. But so we have a free app, and you can get the Disc Golf Strong pre-round warm up.
Okay.
And to go off of that real quick, the pre-round warm up, we've put it out. Put it out in 2016, and it's the same warm up, the same core warm up that even the athletes use here on tour. And then we'll do little extra things if as needed. But just the Disc Golf Strong pre-round warm up, if you start doing that every single day, you can make a massive impact on your body, on how you're feeling, and on your performance. We have a Disc Golf Strong Fitness community group on Facebook. It's just Disc Golf Strong Fitness Community. It's a free group you can join. We've got close to 4,000 people in there now. And we just did a 21-day warm-up challenge inside that. So for 21 days, there was videos or content out every single day for 21 days, and people checked in. And it was just so awesome to see the comments on there, people that were doing the warm-up every single day saying, hey, I'm feeling better, I'm playing better. And even after we stopped the 21-day warm-up check-ins, people were checking in on the page inside the group saying, still doing it, still doing it. I can't stop.
I formed
doing
a habit
now, right?
Which is
formed a habit, right?
I love it. Yep.
And so if there's anything, you can just start with the warm-up. So that warm-up to segue the warm-up, into that warm-up, kind of blend those two together. The warm-up is available inside the app.
Okay.
And then if you want to go farther than that, farther, whatever, would it be further or farther?
I think farther is physical distance.
Yeah.
Further is
I always get that one wrong.
I didn't even know about it until recently, so I can't sound too smart on it. I think farther is actual physical mileage or an actual distance. Yeah. So further is conceptual.
All right. We'll get it figured out.
Further down the road.
If you want to go further and you want actual training programs, we have the Disc Golf Strong Inner Circle. It's the same app, and but you can create a program where there's actual the off-season training programs, the in-season training programs, all that, and that's a monthly thing. So that's if you want actual programs. So some people just want the warm-up, and they want access to we have a video library inside our free app that's over 400 exercises in there, where I break down each exercise, the technique. So there's a lot of free stuff. But if you want more, people ask for programs, there's the Inner Circle. Then we have our Instagram and things like that. We're always posting content.
You're always keeping busy.
Yeah, we're always trying to, our YouTube page. We're really trying to grow our YouTube page this year, and just people want longer videos, longer content.
Okay.
And as you know, YouTube is where it's at. So
I thought you were going to imply that our content goes really long.
No. Hey, you said that, not me. But but yeah, that kind of. You're an athlete. I say that all the time, is the identity, take on the identity of an athlete. And that's what I try to push to my athletes on tour. So you're an athlete. If you think that you're just playing a hobby or a game, then none of this makes sense. But if you think of yourself as an athlete, then and identify as that, then it makes sense to do things that athletes do.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to let you go. I know you got to get up early, and you work with our athletes every morning, all throughout the day. Like, you're one of those guys that I don't envy, because you're there early, you're at the beginning, and you're there at the end every single day. So you're putting in your time out there. And I know all of our players, our athletes, all really appreciate it. And it puts a grin even on my face. I have no tie other than just really liking you. It puts a grin on my face when I hear our athletes talk about how much they've improved and how much they've been enjoying working with you over these last few years. It's great to see, and it's great for the sport, and it's great for everybody. So really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Terry.
Absolutely.
I always love seeing you out there, and look forward to keeping it going.
All right, buddy. All right. Have a good one. I'm going to grab the mic from you, and you'll be all clear. I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right.
If you see that little crazy Steve Rico guy out in the back patio, he might be a few beers in, but he said he wanted to join me.
All right, I go find Rico.
I told him Masters Live matter, and he says they don't. So if you happen to see him,
I'll go look.
Tell him to come join me. All right, guys, as we said, Seth Munsey of Disc Golf Strong. Please make sure you go out and check them out. I'm going to go through a few of the details. One of the cool things they did tonight, just before I went live, is they actually had the amateur award ceremony. For those that don't know, on the A-tier side of things for the amateurs, their weekend and their tournament concluded today. So they played 2 rounds over at the Vista course. Then they played the 1 round at Fountain today, and then their tournament collectively came to completion. So they did the awards a little bit earlier. I'm not going to read through all of the awards, as I know there were dozens of people that got trophies and baskets, but I do want to look at a few of the top finishers that were out there. I'm going to read through them quickly as I scroll down, and there is a cut on the pro side for anyone that is still competing tomorrow. They took the top 40% that will carry into tomorrow. Those people have all made the cut and are in the money, so to speak, and will be vying for titles yet tomorrow. But the people that finished up today, as I scroll down, Cody Parsons, I saw, got his trophy. He is your advanced winner, winning by 2. Congratulations to Cody. Kay Powell won on the advanced women's side. Congratulations to her. Quinny Kravitz Henry. Wow, that's a lot. Quinny Kravitz Henry takes it down with a -2 on the AM Master side. Congratulations to him. And that was the AM 40. AM 50 was Michael Mikulak. I'm going to go with that. Nice job, Michael. And on the AM Master 60 and over, Peter Engelman is your champion. So congratulations to all of them who completed today. One of the really amazing battles that I'm just taking a look at and seeing now is in the Pro Masters 40 and older. I see a 3-way tie with Jennifer Morgan, Lorena Dostal, and Juliana Korver. Juliana being a 5-time women's world champion. They are all tied at +18, so that should be a great battle. They're also tied with Trina Littig, who is Anthony Barella's mother. So she's a little off the pace, but we'll see how they shake out tomorrow. As I just mentioned a moment ago, we'll see if we can get my little friend, Steven Rico. Seth, did you see Steve out there?
Oh, that's why I'm in here.
Oh, it's going to be rowdy. We'll see if he ends up joining us. He is in the lead right now by 5 strokes. He said he didn't play great, but played pretty well. And he still has a 5-stroke lead, this time now over KJ Nybo, who is in from Norway. So we'll see. I apologize. Denmark. I don't want anyone to get mad. From Denmark, I saw Craig Cutler out there a little earlier today. He is 5 strokes off the pace of KJ. So really, I see it only going one of 2 ways. Either Steve Rico takes this down with his 5-stroke lead and he holds off KJ, or KJ has a solid comeback and catches up to Steve Rico. But it's going to be one of those 2 are going to be your champion. Sorry, Cut. I love you, buddy, but I don't see you catching up 10 or more strokes on the lead tomorrow. Jeff Bennett in the thick of things, and Paul Ulibari's older brother, Pete, is in the top 4 as well, along with Minnesota's Daniel Polk. So that's what you see on the MPM side. On the MP50 side, quickly, Anthony Pugh is in the lead over Jonathan Baldwin. Correction, he's tied with Jonathan Baldwin. JB, who we mentioned earlier, also a world champion in JB. And then last weekend's tournament director, Jeff Jacqua, is in the thick of things in the MP50 division. So pretty incredible for him to run that massive A-tier last weekend with nearly 600 people, and then to show up just a couple days later and to be on it enough that he's just 2 strokes off the lead speaks a lot about Jeff Jacqua. And then the technician, Joe Mila is sitting right there in a tie for third as well. Joe's rated 995 and just 2 strokes off the pace. No reason he won't challenge for the title tomorrow. I'm going to take a quick look at any of the comments here. And someone's asking, what's my top 3 MPO for tomorrow? Here's what I can say to that. Paul Macbeth, I felt like, and even by his standards, had I talked to him, I would have called him out and said he played terrible today. Just not very Paul Macbeth-like. And it's pretty incredible that on a day where he plays what many would consider terrible, he still finds himself on the lead card and just a few strokes off of the lead. He sits 5 off of Eagle McMahon. Eagle, of course, had a very solid round out there today. It was the second hottest score at that 10 under. There were 3 11 unders that we saw as well. I believe it was Double G, along with Drew Gibson, and also another long thrower in Jeremy Colling. All right, he doesn't throw as long as Double G, but the 11 under was the hot score. Eagles 10 still keeps him on top of the leaderboard for tomorrow. Calvin Heimberg, I didn't feel like played spectacular, but it was far from bad. So I don't know. It's really tough to say. Eagle or Calvin, I'm going to call. I know that's kind of a cop-out. I think it's going to be Eagle or Calvin. I don't think Paul, even if he has a stellar day, is going to play well enough to make up the 4 or 5 strokes that Eagle and Calvin have. And he needs both of them to falter. And the likelihood of that, I just don't think is very great. So that's why I see Eagle or Calvin pulling it out. And Drew, if he was here, would argue that he's right there in the thick, and he is. Still, Eagle or Calvin, I think, are just going to be too tough to get past. Hate to spoil it, and I think I'd bet the house on it. We'd have to have a very different kind of show if somehow Paige Pierce gives away an 8-stroke lead tomorrow. She sits 8 in front of Jennifer Allen, who's been playing phenomenal this week. Jennifer Allen taking down the FP40 division in Vegas last weekend. Incredible performance by her. She said she's just going to kind of see where the money is, where it best plays out for her. Here she is playing in the FP40 division this weekend, and FPO division this weekend, and proving that she certainly still has it. And I wasn't going to say this on the air tomorrow, but I think Henna and Evelina's ages combined might not be Jennifer Allen's, and that's a compliment to Jennifer Allen's play. So that might get me a dirty look or two, but I'll take it. Jennifer Allen's playing very well. All right, I'll read through any final comments before I let you guys all go. No, Rico? The 2 Seths. That's a dangerous combo. I don't know why this... I apologize if this was somehow streamed to a weird account. Maybe that's probably why we didn't see a lot of the numbers that we normally would. I'm not sure what was going on with that. I apologize for that. I think there was some goofiness with the with my feed of trying to push it through. At the last minute, I had to spend $300 to buy some software just to get this thing running. It was a little bit messy. JK interview tomorrow. Yes, we might see something from Juliana Korver if I can run into her. I am going to try and get out of town the second the last putt drops. I have a plane to catch, and I've been on the road since last Wednesday. So I'm going to try and catch the plane and get out of here right away. All right, guys. Rico, yeah. I even double-checked with him. I said, don't get too many beverages. I'd like to talk to you. He said yes. I confirmed with his nephew and his girlfriend that he'd get sent in here. And I got stood up on a Friday night, Saturday night, whatever it is. All right, guys, we're going to call it. I appreciate you guys for joining us. I want to thank our guests. I want to thank Drew, Ricky, and also Seth. If you'd like to see more of these, maybe a little bit more organized and with a better voice throughout the rest of the Pro Tour, let me know, because if I have good internet, I would love to do more check-ins on random nights of the Pro Tour stops when I'm traveling to these events. I think it could be really insightful, and I'll continue to get more guests and be more consistent with it, if so. So with that, I'm going to call it. I appreciate it. Hope you guys tune in tomorrow to the Disc Golf Network. We will have the live broadcast of the MPO and FPO as we finally bring the Memorial Championships to a close here for 2020. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, signing off. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you guys tomorrow.